What's good, y'all? So in this video, I'm just gonna be showing y'all the funding requirements to run it up. Basically, what you need to have, how your credit needs to look like. That way you can get approved for these high credit lines with these banks or these credit unions for whatever purpose you want to do. If you want to start a business, if you got these requirements, you're more than likely gonna get some good funding. Especially with me too. I always tell y'all that I have a relationship manager with Chase, so I can get you approved for a 50K swipe and another 75K swipe, if needed with an institution like Chase. All right, y'all. Your credit just has to look right. For the people that don't know what a relationship manager is, it's basically a relationship manager, like how the name sounds like. All right, a relationship manager that's deep into Chase, where he will file the application for you, and you're gonna have a higher chance of getting a high credit line. Like nobody's getting 50K approvals off a business credit card with 0% interest in the game nowadays. You get what I'm saying? Nobody's doing that, man. Um, it's very hard, and nobody's getting another 75K swipe right off the dome, like 75K, 50K, just with one institution. You get what I'm saying? With the space of two cards, you can't do that. You got to have a relationship manager, man. They have to file the application for you, so there's an actual Chase relationship manager. I have that connect, so your score has to look something like which I'm about to explain. 700 plus score. Your oldest credit card has to be at least a year plus. Like the more age you have, the better. I ain't gonna lie, the sweet spot is like your oldest primary account being like a year and a half, 2 years. But if you knew how to set up your credit report off the jump, and your credit is looking strong with only your oldest primary being a year, and you got a high credit line, like a high primary account, then you're gonna have a high chance of getting approved for that type of big limit funding. So yeah, sweet spot is a year and a half, 2 years, but we could do a year if your credit is pretty strong. If you have some good primaries on there. Um, Usage under 10%. Everybody knows that. Don't keep it under 30%. Yeah, usage under 10%. That's very easy. No late payments, no collections, no charge offs, no bankruptcies. Basically, no negatives on your credit report. Now, I know some people, they have some late payments or some collections from the past, and they still get approved for some high limit funding. The reason why is because most of those late payments or collections, they very old. You know what I'm saying? They like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Institutions, like, they don't really trip about that much. Now if they very recent, then that's where they trip. And like, there's certain institutions that are very strict as well with like seeing even an old late payment or a collection. Then in that case, I would definitely recommend y'all to either remove those negatives on your own, or you can tap in with somebody like me. You can hit me up on Instagram if you need that situated where we'll sweep off those negatives, man. Just hit me up. So yeah, no negatives, no hard inquiries in the last 3 to 6 months. Inquiries don't really matter like that, bro, to be honest with y'all. But if you got a lot of recent inquiries, bro, like, it kind of looks to certain institutions a little bad. But trust me, inquiries don't really matter like that. You get what I'm saying? I get some people too, like, they be hitting up my Instagram DMs and they be telling me like, "Yo, I got a lot of hard inquiries on my credit report, bro. I'm trying to tap in with the credit repair." Like, I be keeping it real with them, like, bro, I ain't gonna lie, you don't even have to tap in with me at the moment, bro, because these inquiries that you have, bro, you could still get approved for funding. Your credit looks good. So yeah, like, just in case, depends on the institution. If they tripping about inquiries, man, make sure you got them shit swept off. But some people get approved for some high credit lines with 17 plus inquiries on their credit report because the rest of their credit is strong. All right. Now the next thing, let me get some water real quick. All right, y'all. So the next thing is no recent accounts in the last 6 months, y'all. So this is very important, y'all. If you have some recent accounts in the last 6 months, there's a big chance you're gonna get denied with most institutions, y'all. I would say with every institution, no institution want to see a recent account in the last 6 months. All right, whether it's an auto loan, a credit card, whatever it is, man, don't have a recent account in the last 6 months. All right, that's with any institution. Highest limit on the personal side, at least a 5K and up credit card limit. Cause think about it, like I always tell y'all, banks trust other banks. So if you have this is why I always tell people go into Navy Fed, and then after a couple months, Navy Fed will throw you a 20 to 25K credit card limit on your credit report. So once that shit hits on your credit, you look good to other banks. Other banks gonna be like, damn, bro, he got a Navy Fed showed him love with a 20K limit. Shit, I'm comfortable with extending him another 20K limit or a 25K limit. That's how banks move, bro. Banks trust other banks, y'all. So yeah, at least 5K. 5K is cool. Like I said, I always say, don't go for them little baby ass Capital One cards, man. You're not gonna see a 5K limit with a Capital One card unless your credit is very stacked. That's when they show you love. But nah, bro. Make sure you got a 5K limit on the personal side, and that's basically it, y'all. This is how your credit profile should be structured before you try to apply for some funding, man. Don't go crazy trying to think you're gonna get a big ass bag in credit funding if you don't meet these requirements, man. You just gonna run up your inquiries, you're gonna get denied, then you're gonna be hitting people up to get them inquiries swept off. So you have to plant your seeds first. Your credit profile has to look strong before you go crazy, man. A lot of people be saying, bruh, how do I build my credit up fast? Bro, this shit takes time, bro. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. There's really no cheat codes when it comes to building up y'all credit report, man. You have to get some age primaries with these institutions. You have to build trust. You have to build a relationship with them. You get what I'm saying? 6-8 months, building a relationship with a financial institution. Shit like that, man. That's what I'm saying. As soon as you start your credit profile up, plant your seeds already. Open up checking accounts, man. Have some deposits running in. This is how you plant your seeds. That way you could get approved for the maximum amount of funding. Build relationships, all right, y'all? So I always try to compare this shit to real life situations, man. Build relationships later down the line. People trust you more, and you're more willing to get what you want from people because they have that trust. You already built that relationship. Same with these banks, man. Banks are like people. Look at that shit like that.